Greetings and salutations. My name is Kimra Minuti. Thanks for joining me on Gaia Soars. This is a weekly spiritual alchemy podcast with practical tips, tricks, and tools for your empowerment from the perspective of the divine feminine.
So today I have with me on Gaia Soars my favorite person who I've never met, Melissa Hetu. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Kimra. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm honored to be on this show. I'm excited to hear what you got to say.
Well, I'm excited to have you. So a little bit of background, everyone. Melissa is the reason that you guys get to hear Gaia Soars in no small amount, because I met her 2 years ago when I was fresh from a car accident, on disability, broken bodied, broken spirited, and I was like, I am not putting up with any more of my life being like this any longer. And so Melissa had a great post on Instagram, and I'm shuffling today's cards, guys. Melissa had a great post on Instagram that literally spoke to my soul, and I was like, this girl right here, I have to get her to talk to me. And 30 minutes prior to reading Melissa's post on Instagram, I had said everything in her post to my mother. And I was like, I'm tired of living a life that I don't feel like I'm up to snuff, and everybody thinks that I'm wasted potential and all this other crazy stuff. And I was like, I know I'm not that. I know that I can change things. There's got to be a better way. And so I signed up for Melissa's coaching. Was it coaching? Because like now you've gone so much further than that. We're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was a coaching program.
It was a life coaching program, and she was so kind and was like, I see you doing all these things. And I was like, oh my God, please help me because I am such a mess. And then she was like, no, you'll be fine. And I was like, no. And she's like, no, you'll be fine. It was great. And so fast forward, you guys, now I'm on a podcast talking to you with Melissa Hetu. So Melissa, thank you so much.
What a full circle moment, though.
It's so, oh my God. That's why you're my first guest. Because it is so full circle. It's totally full circle because I felt so disempowered, and through your coaching course and through learning Reiki from you, which thank God I did, it helped speed up my healing in my body. You know, gosh, when you met me, I couldn't bend over, or God, I don't even remember. How bad was it when you actually met me? Can you remember? Like,
I remember you really couldn't get around very much. And you were, when we were doing our Reiki sessions and I would ask you to rate the pain that you were feeling, you were up there in the heavy chronic pain. You were in so much pain, and you said that you were still having issues with, you know, your brain injury and all of these things.
Oh, I was still in concussion mode.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so traumatizing. Okay, so when I met you, I was still in the process of a 13-month concussion at the time from a car accident. And I had probably like 9 out of 10 out of 10 pain.
Yeah.
90% of the time. Like, it was all the time. Okay, so to compare to now, guys, just so my listeners know, now it's 2020. We've officially known each other like 2 years, 1 month, and some change, right? And I don't have daily pain anymore. I don't take any medication for my pain except for weed, but whatever. And I don't have any regular medications that I'm on. So I went from being on regular daily meds of like 7 or 8 different medications to being to 0 medications today. I don't even take ibuprofen anymore, which ibuprofen was like my last staple medication. And my last major infection was 4 months ago. So
wow, can we get a round of applause? That is
like I want to applaud myself too.
That is amazing.
That's why it's
progress.
Helpful. Yeah, it's helpful to come full circle. It's helpful to come full circle and then take a moment to look at the progress that's been made. So I've been bike riding, I've been walking, and I started a little bit of jogging in the last like 6 months or so. Like when I feel impulse to run, I'll actually physically try to run. And so major shifts since we met. So yeah.
So proud of
So
you.
thank you, my love. So tell me a little bit about how you became this kick-ass life coach that you are, because you've definitely changed my life. And I want you to explain to other people what it is that you do and how you kind of fell into your calling, because this is definitely your calling. Like,
Thank you. Honestly, it was wild because about a year and a half ago, I had an astrology chart reading, and they're like, yeah, based on your chart, you're doing exactly what you were basically, it's written in the stars that I'm doing what I'm doing. So getting that confirmation was great, but I could have probably told before that. But anyways,
I'm pretty sure I told you that 2 years ago, but whatever.
Yeah, right. So I took your word for it, but then I got the confirmation in the astrology.
Right.
Well, basically, to like really skip through really quickly, I've always, like, as a child, I had really intense anxiety. I thought it was totally normal. It came from just being extremely, like, being a highly sensitive child and intuitive and not knowing how to deal with that.
I know the story.
Yeah, and then basically, as teenagers do, I found drugs and alcohol and smoking and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, yay, something that can make me not feel so intensely, right?
Right.
And I used that basically as to numb everything out until I found fitness, and through fitness I then found spirituality, and that was key. That was key because that just, you know, opened everything up for me. And when I did discover spirituality and I did start learning about all of these things, it was not necessarily a learning from zero. It was like just a re-remembering of everything. Everything just made sense to me. And I started, I was doing health and fitness coaching, and I built a successful online health and fitness coaching business. And it came to a point where I just was spending lots of time giving free spiritual coaching and manifestation coaching. And I was like, this isn't a great business model. Maybe I gotta shift what my business actually is, right? And so I just skipped over a bunch of details. Basically, I moved to Italy in 2016 from Canada, and I started my spiritual mentoring business. And I learned about, I became a master energy healer, a master Reiki energy healer. And since then I've learned various modalities just to go deeper into like actually helping people heal themselves. Because, you know, there's the term healer, and I use it just to simplify things, but I don't believe that I'm healing other people. I think I'm just helping them activate their own healing abilities, because everyone has the ability to heal themselves, and I'm just trying to help people activate that within themselves.
Awesome. I'm glad you said that, because I also use the word healer, but I feel the same way. I use it very loosely because I allowed my body to do what it naturally does. And that's a conversation that should be easily aware and available to everybody, that your body has the capability to heal itself. You have to allow that healing energy into your body to help your body do that. And you have to support your body with things such as food and exercise and meditation and feeling good in other ways by addressing issues in your life so that you can allow the healing to happen. And that was one of the major things that you really taught me. And I have to get this master Reiki healer course done too. I think that's probably going to be coming soon. So yeah, because we can't heal anybody. We are simply holding the space for you to gain the comprehension of your own ability to heal, to know that your own body has that capability within it. Because if you didn't know you could fix yourself, you wouldn't try, would you?
Exactly.
No. Right. So, and that was what you did for me, really. You were like, Kimra, I see you somewhere talking in a field. And I was like, that is so what I want to do. And now we can't go out to the field, but I can bring the field to you via Gaia Soars, you know? And so I can bring that green place that I love so much into these conversations, and we're still affecting that same concept, you know? And I'm really thankful that we made it there.
Yeah, it's truly serendipitous, to be honest. It's wonderful.
I love it. So normally what we do is a tarot reading, and I know that you play with cards too. So as we go through this interview, I will just be pulling random cards to go with it. There's
So you have
nothing
a tarot
random.
deck, right? You have a
I
classic
do.
Rider-Waite tarot?
I'm actually running the classic Thoth Rider. Is this the Thoth Rider-Waite, or is this the... No, this is the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck.
Okay.
So this is a great one, because if you want to study tarot from the position of the symbology on the cards, this has so much symbology in it. I don't do all that. That's a lot of work. But if you do it from an intuitive perspective, which is how I usually operate on everything, it's just a very funny deck. I don't know why, but Thoth has a sense of humor. And this is my third set of Thoth cards. And this is the funniest deck I have. Like, this deck has the craziest sense of humor. And anybody who listens to me will be like, you're weird. But I'm like, I don't care. It's true.
No, every deck has a personality, 100%. And I thought, since you have a tarot deck, I would go more with an oracle. And my favorite oracle card deck at the moment is the Work Your Light Oracle card deck by Rebecca Campbell, who also wrote Light is the New Black or something like that. So the artwork is beautiful. Highly recommend to anyone that's looking for a great oracle card deck. It's a great companion to a tarot reading, because it just gives you sort of like action steps moving forward, and gives you a deeper energetic reading, you know?
Perfect, because this deck I find is good for like technicalities and like highlighting a situation. But if you want implementation, then I usually switch to something else. So we'll balance each other. So the first card that I pulled, whatever card you pull will balance that, and that's how.
Okay.
Okay, because this card I pulled the Tower. Okay, and this is a trump card, and most people freak out when they see the Tower, but I want people to understand that this card is about coming to reality more than anything else. Okay, because in my little booklet it says: quarrel, combat, danger, ruin, destruction of plans, ambition, courage, sudden death, escape from prison, and all it implies. And everybody always freaks out about the Tower, but they miss the part where it says escape from prison and all it implies. Well, right now, astrologically, we are in Capricorn with Saturn and Jupiter, which is a prison of illusion. Okay? And so there is an illusion out there that you can either subscribe to, or you can choose to rise above the illusion and realize that there's another avenue to operate on. And I think that's what this card is really calling us to look at. Like, do you need to be a part of the illusion, or can you just stop playing the fucking game? Like, are you to stop playing the game?
Right, like, get out of the matrix.
Hashtag red pill gang. Like, this year you're about to be red pill. The red pill will not be denied.
Right, and I think that for creation and new beginnings to happen, we do need to have that Tower moment where everything sort of like crumbles down, and we let the dust settle, and we figure out like what's important, where we want to focus, how we want to rise above all of this energy distortion and move forward. And it's funny because the card that I drew was Unbound.
Yes, girl.
So releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives, which I think is really important, because as we're going through this like collective Tower moment, basically,
it is a collective Tower moment.
Right, we're being confronted with all of our triggers and a lot of like fears that we have just in normal life that maybe just go under the radar because we're all just like, you know, distracted by life. Now that everything has sort of come to a screeching halt, all of that stuff is coming to the surface to be processed, right? And so we have the opportunity right now to release ourselves from the binds of soul patterns and contracts and past lives and the fears that we've been holding on to. So yeah, really, really powerful.
And you know what? I think this also speaks to the conversation of us closing out the age of Pisces. Because, normally when we close out a month or we close out a year, everybody has like a closing out ritual. But the age of Pisces, we haven't closed out our ritual for the age of Pisces yet. And so I feel like that keeps people more stuck in that delusion, because they don't even realize that we're able to shift into something new. We're shifting into the age of Aquarius. So the tower is a necessary death for the collective in order for us to move into this new age where transparency is going to be the currency. Like, there's not going to be a lot of lying about crap, or if there is, this it's probably not going to play out for very long.
Right. I feel people are really waking up, right? And just from the little guidebook I wanted to read, because it's perfectly in alignment with what you just said, right? It's asking us, what old ways of being have an expiry date? When you name them, you claim them, and they stop holding power over you. So now we have this moment where everything has sort of like crumbled down. What are we going to take with us into the age of Aquarius, right? When we acknowledge these old patterns, it's also important to acknowledge how they have served us up until now, right? What has all of this illusion been giving us, and now how can we move forward in a more empowered way, right?
That makes perfect sense. All right, so what are some tools that you currently use to help people deal with these tower moments in their lives? Because as a coach, you definitely helped me when I was in my tower moment. I was being, my whole life was being destroyed, and had been being destroyed for a long time to release the new powerful being, because I had wanted to publish my book, but I had no confidence in myself, and my physical reality was just disturbing. What the heck? So, what are those tools you use, Melissa? Tell me about those.
In a moment, we will be back with my guest, Melissa Hetu. But first, here's music from Wicked Beat Sound System with Church of Al Green Remix. It's really funky. I'm Kimra Minuti, and this is Gaia Soars here on Magazine Radio.
You're listening to Magazine.today. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, go to the live chat function on Magazine.today on your phone or on your computer. The live chat function will pop up. You can send us a message, pictures, whatever you want. Easiest way to communicate to us any time of the day or night. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Magazine.today.
That is the biggest truth. And this conversation about spiritual bypassing, I think that right now we're really going to see who's been spiritually bypassing. Like, your discernment right now will be about that. And everybody, please excuse me, there's like a lot of background noise. My AirPods died and I'm outside. But I think that's very true. My last week's podcast, my card that I pulled was self-care. You're the self-care queen. I know that a lot of people who suffer from depression and anxiety have poor self-care habits because, like we said, we're people pleasers. And so we don't fill our cups first. And one of the first things you taught me was to fill my cup so that I would be able to help other people. But then you mentioned something just recently to me that I was like mind blown, because I had just got the basic concept of self-care down. You're like, well, if you're going into a heightened activity state, you need to bolster your self-care to match the heightened activity state. And I was like, well, duh, but it wasn't duh, because I was still stuck in the barely getting through my self-care routine from the old patterns that I was stuck in, and right now, I think a lot of people are finding that is an issue for them, because people are like, oh, I'm going to come out of this quarantine 600 pounds. Well, why?
Okay.
Why would you allow the quarantine to control you to the point that you would make yourself extra unhealthy? Not even just a little bit unhealthy. You're just going to completely give up. So even if everything was going to go back to normal, right? So let's just throw that out there. Even if everything was going to go exactly back the way it was prior to this pandemic and the quarantine, you would like to come out on the other side of the pandemic with an extra 400 or so pounds to have to now take off to deal with people. So when you emerge naked from the freaking chrysalis of quarantine, you want to do it on, what's that TV show America had, The Biggest Loser, for losing like 400 pounds at a time. So that's what you want to do? So this is what the transits and the cards and the conversations are. They're about these unhealthy thought patterns that have kept you locked down in this prison, this prison illusion tower situation. Like, why would you choose that over choosing to maybe learn how to fast? Since you're not really doing anything, what do you need to be putting food in your mouth for?
Right. And that just goes into like a whole other host of issues, because they don't have the tools to deal with their shit, they're food
just eating
to numb themselves. Right. And so there's a deeper problem there, right? And so, yeah, that's why I've been saying, like, everyone needs the tools that I've been sharing right now. And that's why I've been really pushing the Luscious Lightworker Academy. And
your shadow work for.
Yeah, and I have one spot left in my one-on-one program, and I want people to have these tools. You know what I mean? Like, because now is a time where, everyone needs to deal the way they need to deal. But if you have the tools, it makes it a lot easier. If you have the tools and the knowledge to process everything in a healthy way, and make a little bit of progress on your healing journey, then that's huge. Like, otherwise people will often claim that they don't have the time to do this kind of work.
Right. Well, so now you have no choice. You have the time, but here's the thing: do you have the self-discipline and the courage? See, the Lust card asks for us to be courageous in these energies, because if you can be courageous, then you will be able to navigate your way through this very unprecedented time, because we're not going into a time where we know anything about. This is unprecedented. It's going to stay unprecedented. Like, it's not going to ease up. We're still going to not know how to deal with any of these things happen. Nobody's had countries shut down for X amount of months. There's no paperwork written on how to come back from that. You know, so no matter what, we're still going to be in a kind of a catch up, make it up as you go sort of situation, you know, which I think is what this next card is about. Insert card. It is the Four of Swords. And it was upside down, by the way, too. I don't normally care about the direction of my cards, but today I do. And it was a truce card upside down. So let's see what I feel like this is where you call a truce with yourself, to be honest. Because you need to be honest with yourself about the bullshit you've been allowing
you gotta
to
be
hold you
tired
down.
of your bullshit to actually
Right,
make
like
that change.
how many more times do you want to feel fuckery and feel bad about this situation? Are you really ready to look at it in the face and be like, no, I'm good, we're not doing this again? Like, and I think as we close out the age of Pisces, that's why all of these different hard realities are coming up. Like, are you really okay with human trafficking? Are you really okay with children being taken as sex slaves? Are you really okay with, 12-year-old girls being married off around the world? Are you really okay with that? Or do you want to just sit in your so-called first world bubble and pretend that, this quarantine is going to go away and you're going to come out on the other side and it'll be gravy. Everything will be fine, So the book says, truce. A rest from sorrow, peace after war, relief from anxiety, recovery, change after struggle, intellectual authority, and convention. And I have this reversed. Exactly. So with it being reversed, I feel like it just slows us getting to that point. Like the longer you fight it, the longer you fight the balance within yourself to go, this, I wasn't happy with that, and that's okay. Now that I'm looking at it, I can forgive myself for accepting it based on the trauma that allowed me to accept it. I can release it with love, and we can move on. And I can find a new place of peace and joy in myself. If you're willing to do that, if you're willing to invest in yourself and find the tools and ask for help and connect to people, then you'll be good. But if not,
you're just slowing down your process.
You're slowing down your process and increasing your pain because Chiron is moving into something vicious again.
But let's keep it on the up and up because I drew the Lemuria card.
Oh, perfect.
Right? Okay, so it says creating heaven on earth, it's happening. So Lemuria is one of Earth's lost lands, and apparently it's an ancient space before we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden and all that. Based on no beliefs are being pushed here, but this is just what the booklet's got to say. It was a time where we were deeply reverent to Mother Earth. And so we're bringing that energy back. And as we see that, Mother Earth is healing, and, this card is coming up because we're starting to really believe that heaven can be a place on earth. And we are part of this transition team, who at a soul level are devoted to creating this kind of harmony on the planet now. So if you're listening to this right now, it is no coincidence, okay? You are part of this soul team that have come to do the work, and really just raise the vibration of the planet and hold the frequency of Lemuria in your own community, in your own family, in your own workplace by doing the work you got to do, the spiritual work.
Yes, girl.
And the work in real life.
That's perfect. And there's been a lot of Lemuria transmissions have been coming up recently. You're probably the third light worker that I've heard just like throw Lemuria back out and be like, hey, these are the light codes that are coming through.
Right.
And everybody who's listening on this station for the most part and either listens to me on the Seventh Sense with Mike Puskas and on a couple other things, like you guys, you are part of the new Gaia light transition team. You're here to help raise the vibration. You're here because you know that things aren't actually what they seem. You know that what happens with your physical eyes is not what's happening spiritually, energetically. You may not even question that everything is vibration. You're just like, duh, that's still a conversation. Yeah, it is. Some people are like, everything's not vibration, light and stuff. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So, and I mean, that's okay. That's okay if you're just getting to this knowledge. Like, we don't want to belittle anybody for where they are on their path and on this journey right now. What we are trying to do is really just make conversations that are the norm, so that this is not something that you only have to go to the wacky spiritual frou-frou hippie corner to learn this. No, these are things that would have spared a lot of us trauma had we learned them from birth.
Right. It's a re-remembering. And so we want to meet everyone where they are on their journey. And I thought this might be the perfect time to give everyone a tool.
Tool.
Yeah, so we'll do like a little shamanic activation together so that we can rise above all of the funkiness that's been going on a collective level, right? And so basically super easy. If you're listening to this and your hands are free, that's ideal. But take your index finger of your dominant hand and point the tip to the center of your non-dominant hand palm. Okay, so like you're pressing a button in the middle of your palm, and
Boom,
you just have to listen to the words that I say, or you can speak them out loud if you want. But basically, this is like you have a Harry Potter wand from Ollivanders, and you are activating these words with your index finger. Okay, so
boom, let's go.
Okay, deep breath in and deep breath out. Okay. I now rise above any energy distortion.
I now rise above any energy distortion. I'm going to say this with you.
Okay. I now release all that no longer serves my highest good.
I now release all that no longer serves my highest good.
Okay. I now raise my frequency.
I now raise my frequency
to levels that allow all that I desire.
To levels that allow all that I desire.
To magnetize to me rapidly.
To magnetize to me rapidly.
I now become a vibrational match.
A vibrational match.
For what I truly desire.
For what I truly desire.
I enhance that frequency and vibration.
I enhance that frequency and vibration.
And allow anything that doesn't match it.
And allow anything that doesn't match it.
Within my energy field and life.
Within my energy field and life.
To be released into the earth to be transmuted.
To be released into the earth to be transmuted.
And I am cleared, charged, and ready to manifest.
I am cleared, charged, and ready to manifest.
And so it is.
And so it is. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's perfect. You know, because we need practical tools. We need practical tricks. And, you know, right now you kind of have to be like a spiritual alchemist to get things organized. You know, you need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that to get it together. You know, Melissa, I know you have a client after this interview. How much time do we have left, sweetheart?
We can wrap it up in peace. We don't have to rush too much.
Okay, good. All right, perfect. I know that, so, you know, something that you said struck me because I have these cards laid out, and one of the cards upcoming is swiftness. And so I kind of want to can you just pull 4 more cards? Just pull 4.
Okay.
And then we're just going to match them. And we're going to go down them bing, bang, boom. Because I feel the rest, this is a very continuous reading, and the flow is excellent. And I know that you're going to have a matching flow. So.
Okay. I'm letting them percolate.
Yeah, let them marinate, and let me talk about this next card.
Yeah,
so the next card that I pulled up is the Ace of Cups. And this ties into the lust card, and it ties into both Melissa and I, because we're both water signs. And so I feel the conversation of the waters and our bodies rising and connecting with the waters is extremely pertinent this year. And the Ace of Cups.
The Age of Aquarius.
Right, the Age of Aquarius. So the root of the powers of water: fertility, productivity, beauty, pleasure, and happiness. So if you can go within yourself and tune into your waters and listen to your intuitive guidance, you will find your way to slip through the cracks of this insanity, and you will flow into the perfect place. I really believe that that's what's happening. You know, you might feel compressed right now, but how do we make diamonds, ladies and gentlemen? Extreme pressure. You are in process of becoming a diamond. All is well. Keep the faith. What card did you get to match that?
I have the Age of Light, and it's basically just a confirmation that we've chosen to incarnate at this time. We've been training for this for lifetimes, and we've decided to come forward to be part of this amazing global transition.
Right. See, the new Gaia transition team. Thank you. Lightworkers unite. Okay. So confirmation, and then now we're still in cups again. So the next card is in cups. It's the 10 of Cups. And it's the
love that for us. Love that for us.
10 of Cups. That is perfect. So it says contentment, pursuit of pleasure, desired outcome, success, peacemaking, generosity. But if it's overturned, or if it's upside down, it can be dissipation, overindulgence, pity, waste, and stagnation. So right now I have it reversed on my table, but the Truce card is also reversed. So you see, like, this shows me that we're really like in a pendulum.
And we have
point.
the choice. We have the choice.
And we have
what
the
road
choice.
we want to take. Do you want to take the high road, or do we want to stay where we are?
Do you want to stay where you are? And we just came out of what? Libra. The full moon was in Libra, where we had to figure out how we were going to balance the scales. You want it tipped against you or tipped for you? You know, so that's that card. What do you got? Sis, give it to me.
Okay, this is also a water card. So it's the Mintaka card. So Mintaka is like this water planet that no longer exists. And like apparently the original light workers incarnated in their first incarnation there. And since their home no longer exists, they're constantly looking for that belonging and looking for home, right? And so it makes sense that now that we have, you know, our home, this planet has been mistreated, and, you know, is now going through a global thing together. We do need to take ownership of this planet in the sense of like, you know, take responsibility for all the shit that we've done to it, and do better. And also in our communities, and embrace everyone in the community, and, you know, really come together and unite and raise each other up.
See, so that is right back on the conversation of our waters and cleanliness, and coming back to restoring balance and harmony. I mean, I'm sure you've seen like the photos of LA where there's like no smog anymore. Kathmandu, you can see the peaks. Like, you know, how much dolphins are floating through your rivers over there? You know, like it's fascinating how nature is creeping slowly back to reset everything as we stop kind of mucking it up, you know? So, and I think it speaks to the conversation of Venus retrograding in Gemini, innovating our new thought patterns on how to proceed so we don't make these mistakes once more. How can we be good stewards for our planet now that we realize that we kind of dumped on her, you know? We are all aware now. We're at full stop. Let's implement in a way that doesn't deplete going forward. Let's throw that out there. And then the next card I got was the 8 of Wands, which is swiftness. And we're in a 4 manifestation month. Ooh.
And also a universal 4 year.
And which is lightning fast manifestation. And so a lot of things that people don't realize is a lot of the change that the collective has been crying out for is lightning fast manifesting right now. The majority of the collective that wasn't a spiritually based entrepreneur online or something like that was going to do these 40 to 70 hour work weeks in places they didn't want to. The collective cried out to come home. Now we're home. Let's build the home that we want. So 8 of Wands is swiftness, speech, light, electricity, energy of high velocity, activity, approaching goals, letter, message, boldness, freedom, but too much force applied too suddenly. So we know what that means. Like whenever you rush into an impulse that hasn't been fully rooted in love and grounded in non-trauma, you kind of just move crazy and then you miss the mark, you know?
Well, you're forcing, right?
Yeah, you're forcing instead of allowing. So while we're being asked to be more still and quiet in our center sovereign spaces, let's allow the swiftness of manifestation to come to us as opposed to forcing things, you know? Yeah. What do you got, sister?
The fill up your well card came again.
You see, and look, it's telling you to fill your well up with a swiftness because you might need to weather the storm of whatever is coming emotionally or financially or physically. Like, you don't really know. How much do you need to feel safe in your own space so that you can still move forward in the times that are, you know, basically anxiety provoking? Like,
and I also think it's a reminder that a lot of people think, you know, we're all in this rat race trying to, you know, reach the status quo, or, you know, people get caught up in that, of course, but now's the time where we can really prove that just by filling our well, just by, you know, taking care of the way that we feel and doing that kind of work, that kind of more receptive work is actually gives you the swiftness of manifestation. That's what makes shit happen. When you line up your vibration, that is
instant manifestation.
Yeah, you don't have to force anything.
Yep, that's true. And you know, and that's the conversation. Like, hey, you've been wanting to manifest XYZ this whole time, and you're like, why is it taking so long? Well, this is your time to drop your resistance and manifest the life you want. Manifest the clients you've been asking for. Manifest the online job, whatever, the work from home position, whatever. Like, you're able to, if you realize that you can, and you also do the added work to allow it into your existence. If you allow it, then it will flow. But people are always like, oh, it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because you're blocking it, boo. Like,
yeah, and you need to figure out why you're blocking it, because sometimes it's that deep shadow inner child stuff that you're being pushed to do right now.
That you're being pushed to do right now, right? Like, I did some inner child stuff the other day that I thought I had addressed, because when someone asked me about it, I was very easily able to be like, well, it's this, and this. But when I actually sat with the emotion of it, I hadn't really gotten that far past it, to be honest. I was like, oh, I'm still very much that little hurt, scared 4-year-old girl, you know? And I was like, oh, I said, well, I'm glad we excavated that again. Let's move on. So our last card of this reading, which I think is a great card to end on, it's the Fortune card. Change of fortune, generally good, and destiny. Like, everything that we've said, if you can find the help, do the tools, stay open. And guys, not everything requires money. Like, everybody thinks like, I have to have money to affect a change in myself. That's not true. I was affecting change in my own life for 4 years before I met Melissa. But because I wanted to affect change in my life. So I was listening to 432 Hertz music. I was listening to The Secret. I was trying to read books. I was trying to associate with people in multi-level marketing that would help change my mindset so that I could be somebody different. So if you're willing to be better than you were before, or even just to be different, who cares about better? Because you just want to be different. Then you're halfway there.
And there are so many resources out there, and especially now is the time where people are putting out so many free resources and so many free teachings. So it's out there. There are no excuses. If you guys are interested in that shadow work, I did like a super quick video on IGTV about like a simple process so that you can begin that journey with shadow work if you feel intimidated by it. But like, there's stuff out there, not just my own thing.
Right. And so let me just quickly say to people, shadow work is when you look at things that make you uncomfortable emotionally and you address them in a loving manner, and you find a way to release them so they don't trigger you and affect you, and you don't bring that pattern forward. So just to clarify that for anybody who's like, what the heck, shadow work? That's cool. Shadow work is extremely important because everything else is spiritual bypassing if you don't do shadow work. You don't get to you'll have the same things happen to you over and over again if you don't do shadow work, because you're not addressing the cause.
If you're just love and light and good vibes only, then you're gonna stay blocked because you're actually not addressing the trauma and all of the stuff that's holding you back.
Right. And so since our thought patterns are rather cyclical in nature, in order to insert a more positive thought into your thought pattern, you're going to have to take a look at what that crappy thought was to begin with. And so that's just part of what we call shadow work. So do you have a last card for me? I'm sure
I do.
It's going to match really good. I can tell.
It's take a break.
Boom!
Yeah. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So get out of like your normal distractions, get out of like all of the things that, get out of, even the energy distortions and subliminal messaging, and really come home to yourself and you're like, what do I want? What do I need? Like, have you ever had someone ask you, what do you need? Isn't that just so reassuring? Like, just do that for yourself. Ask yourself what you need right now and give it to yourself.
That's beautiful. That is so perfect. Because you know what? I remembered when you said that. I remembered being so anxious that people would ask me what I needed, and I would panic because I was such a people pleaser. I couldn't even fathom my own needs. And so you would ask me, and I would get like this deer in the headlights thing, and I'd be like, I don't know what I need, but I'm choking to death at the same time. You know what I mean? And so it's great to just check in on yourself. Like, hey self, you seem to be freaking out. What do you need? And then you can really answer yourself and go, wow, I am freaking out. Maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I need a nap. Maybe I need to meditate. Maybe I need to go outside and scream. Maybe I need to hug a tree. Maybe I need to swim, yoga, something, And if you can address the need, then you can address a solution. So there we go. And I think that is a perfect way to end this wonderful conversation with you, Melissa. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too.
So
Thank you so much for having me and sharing this beautiful experience. I'm super grateful. Thank you.
I am too. And I'm so glad that although we are not quite in that beautiful clearing that we saw us in, we are mentally in a beautiful clearing every time we talk to each other.
Absolutely.
And so I just want to thank you again for coming on my new show, Gaia Soars. And everyone, if you want to get a hold of Melissa, she is on Facebook at Melissa Hetu, Hetu. I'll be posting deets on my Facebook page and my Instagram and whatever. And guys, I forgot to mention this last week, but if you would like to hear replays of the show, it's on 5:30 to 7 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, Eastern Standard Time. And I will also be putting replays of the show on my Off Duty at Minuti YouTube channel. Okay, so it'll make it easier for people to catch the goods once more. All right.
Amazing.
You guys, it was great. Thanks, Melissa, again. And this is another episode of Gaia Soars. Until next time.
Awesome. Thank you. Love you.
Bye.